Well, tonight it's an absolutely picture-perfect night for baseball in downtown Cincinnati. Crowd rolling in for Game 2 of this 3-game series at Great American Ballpark between the Reds and the Dodgers. A long night of baseball last night, and the Reds hoping to reverse their fortunes of late. They've dropped 9 of their last 15 going into play tonight. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball. And, Chris, I guess at the end of the day, you're going to win so many, you're going to lose so many. It's what you do in between. Last night, just a bad night. You got to move on.
No, it wasn't a bad night. You know, the interesting thing about all the 4 games that these two teams have played against each other, they've scored a total of 65 runs. So it's been really an offensive-type series. It wasn't so for the Reds last night. Obviously, you know, when you don't score, you get shut out. It's not a very good thing. But the good thing about it is when you play 162 of them, like you say, Tom, 1 loss doesn't mean a thing. You turn the page and you hope to go on over again. But I don't think tonight's going to be one of those high offensive ball games.
Outstanding pitching matchup tonight, which we'll talk about in just a little while. What we do know is right now these are 2 of the top teams in the entire National League. The Reds and the Cardinals now tied atop the Central. The Dodgers have the second-best record in their division, the second-best record in the National League.
Well, the Dodgers are 10 games over 500, and they're half a game back. So that's how good that Western Division is, especially with the San Diego Padres holding pace right there. The Dodgers have been playing very good baseball. They're on a tough road trip. They go from here to Boston, and then when they get back home again, they play the Angels and then the New York Yankees. So the next couple of weeks, very important for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And quite frankly, the next road trip for the Reds might be a very, very important one as well. They never do well traditionally on the West Coast. That's why it's important to take care of business here the last 2 games at Great American Ballpark before you head out to play the Seattle Mariners.
Well, it certainly has been a disappointing homestand thus far for the Reds. They've only run 3 times, but 2 more to go. And first things first, we start tonight with the man who's been the best Red starter, Mike Leake. We'll talk more about him in a moment. In beautiful high definition, courtesy of H.H. Gregg. And boy, what a lovely night it is. How about the rest of the night? Let's check in with Tim Hedrick.
Oh, my goodness, should be a much better night for the ball game. 80 degrees at first pitch. By 9 o'clock, we're talking 78 down to 72. No thunderstorms. A little bit less humid as well. Enjoy the game, everybody.
That's very good news indeed, and always good news when Mike Leake is on the mound. He's faced the Dodgers once already this year.
Well, he has, and you see the numbers right there. That was his worst outing of the year until his last start, and he was bailed out of a loss in his last start, so he was still able to sport a 5-0 record out there. That was all the way back in April 22nd. Well, Mike Leake, we're still trying to get a feel of the league. I think he's much more comfortable now, but he's in the grind of the season. And this time of the year, it can be a grind, as big a mental grind as it is a physical grind. But you see him among National League rookies. He leads, he's second in wins with 5. He's got a great earned run average. He's right up there with innings pitched and opponent batting average. I mean, he is a whole package right there, Mike Leake. A good guy to throw against this Dodger team. This is a pretty good hitting ball club. He's going to have to change speeds and keep that baby down here tonight.
Now let's see if the Reds bats can wake up. They have been on such a great roll for nearly 2 months. We'll see if they can get on another one starting tonight. First pitch coming up next. By Ford F-Series trucks and best-selling trucks 33 straight years. By Just for Men, for mustache and beard, keep your edge. And by Skyline Chili, you know it's Skyline time when you get that craving for a Skyline 3-way or cheese Tony. Boy, it is just a glorious weather night in Cincinnati after all that rain and humidity we had here last night. Joe Torre starting lineup brought to you by Remke Biggs. Rafael for a call to lead it off. And he looks at a strike, and this game is underway. Russell Martin will bat second with Andre Ethier in right. Manny Ramirez, a cleanup hitter. James Loney at first. Matt Kemp in center. And a ladder third of Casey Blake, Blake DeWitt, and Clayton Kershaw on the mound. The same lineup the Dodgers used rolling to 12 runs and 19 hits last night. And for a call right in the middle of everything all night long.
Now, Mike Leake, you know how he goes about his business? Real simple. Changes speeds, works fast, and when he's going right, he's going to get some ground balls. Mainly because he's able to keep that ball down. 12 starts this year, a 5-0 record, and a startling 2.6 earned run average, 77 innings. And he's given up only 6 home runs.
Cole, a 5-hit game here last night, had a couple of doubles, 3 singles, and they're going to get him out to start the game tonight. That's a better way to get it started. Cole led off last night with a double and scored the first of 3 first-inning runs against Aaron Hooray. Let's take a look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. Gomes and Bruce, the corner outfielders. Stubbs in center. Rowland and Votto, the corner infielders. Cabrera and Phillips up the middle, with a battery of Mike Leake and Ramon Hernandez. Russell Martin, a .258 batter. And the Dodger catcher looks at strike one, says Hunter Wendelstedt, our home plate umpire tonight. Jerry Lane, the crew chief, at first. Brian Runge at second, and Mike Winters is at third. Two and one on Russell Martin, with Andre Ethier waiting on deck. Joe Torre, 69 years young, from Brooklyn, New York. He'll be 70 next month. And unbelievably has led the 2 franchises he has managed most recently, the Yankees and the Dodgers, to the playoffs in 14 straight seasons. Fly ball, short right, Bruce is there, 2 down. "14 years in a row." And you look at the all-time Major League Baseball managerial wins list, and look at that. 3, 4, and 5, all active managers. Tony La Russa in St. Louis, and as you know, Bobby Cox in Atlanta. Bobby Cox has said this will be his last season, although there are some that believe they wouldn't want to hedge a lot of money on that bet. We'll see how it plays out. Strike one to Andre Ethier.
Well, he was pretty straightforward, Tom. Just about everybody that he's talked to, Bobby Cox I'm talking about, that this is his last year. And the reason he feels so is because he's told everybody so. He goes, once you lay it out there, you can't go back. If you waffle all year long, it gives you such an easy opportunity to say, okay, I'll come back for one more year. But they're having a nice year, and it'll be a nice year for Bobby to go out on a top note if they can continue to play the way they have been down there in Atlanta.
Well, they got beat last night, but they're 9 games over 500 are the Braves, a half game better than the surging New York Mets. They have ripped off 5 straight wins to leapfrog Philadelphia into second place in that National League East. 0-2 on Andre Ethier. And there's a base hit into right field.
Now, this guy can flat out hit. I mean, it doesn't matter what part of the zone you put it on. He seems to put the fat part of the bat on the ball. Coming into this ball game, nearly a .340 hitter. It's a pretty good lefty-righty punch. They have 3 and 4, obviously, when Manny Ramirez is playing hard and hitting hard. And he can get as hot as anybody in the game of baseball. With Ethier and Ramirez, that's a tough tandem to work your way through.
I tell you what, with those 2 guys batting 3 and 4, as Manny looks at a strike, it is very easy, and count me guilty as charged, to overlook the year James Loney is having. You can make an argument Loney's having a better year than Joey Votto. They have the same number of RBIs. Votto has more home runs, but the batting averages are a wash. The big difference is Loney has 21 doubles. Joey Votto has 10. And there's Loney coming off, like many of his teammates, a big night last night. Loney had 3 doubles, a single, and drove in 2. 0-2 to Manny. Struck him out, inning over. 1 hit, 1 left. The Reds come to bat when we return. We have bright, sunny, early evenings here at Great American Ballpark.
Yeah, you see how bright it is. You saw the last swing that Manny Ramirez had against that pitch, a changeup, a good one, a slider that was against Mike Leake. But he just didn't see the ball at all. And I think the same thing's going to be said for the Reds in the first inning, maybe even the Dodgers in the second inning. Until that glare begins to go away, this is one of the more difficult hitting backgrounds in all of baseball.
The Retke bid starting lineup for the Reds under manager Dusty Baker, Orlando Cabrera, Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto, Scott Rowland, the cleanup hitter, Johnny Gomes in left to bat fifth, Jay Bruce in right bat sixth. Stubbs, Hernandez, and Leake the latter third against one of the toughest pitchers to hit. It doesn't matter if it's daytime, nighttime, middle of the nighttime. Clayton Kershaw.
You're right. Overpowering fastball, hard slider, lots of strikeouts. Struck out 11 the last time he faced the Reds. That was last year. The Dodgers primarily go with high schoolers in the draft. They did that this year. They did it back in 2006 when they picked this young man as their #1 pick, 7th pick overall in the 2006 draft out of Dallas.
So Kershaw, just 22 years young. He's made 66 career appearances. Tonight is his 65th career start. And there's a one-hopper down at Casey Blake, who has trouble getting out of his glove, but finds the handle and throws out Cabrera one away. The Dodgers on defense. Same group we saw last night. Ramirez, Kemp, and Ethier in the outfield. Blake for a call, DeWitt and Loney in the infield. And the catcher, Russell Martin. When we talk about how hard this guy is to hit, and the numbers simply do not lie. In 2009, he led all big league pitchers, every single one of them. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about Halladay or Lincecum or Santana or anybody right on down the line. Opponents hit 200 last year against Clayton Kershaw. 200. And he ranked first in the major leagues in opponent slugging percentage. He allowed 6 hits per 9 innings, which was the best in Major League Baseball.
All right, now that's the good news. Bad news is he was only 8-8, a 500 pitcher last year. No matter what the batting average against is, he offsets his great batting average against by being wild. And some say that he's effectively wild. He walked nearly 5 batters per 9 innings last year. So you add the walks and the hits together, and he's pitching out of the stretch like most real good pitchers. But still, they feel like, you know, at age 22, he's in his 3rd major league season. He is just now beginning to get it as far as what it's like to pitch in the major leagues. I mean, he's actually younger than Mike Leake by a matter of months, but still, technically, he is younger. So we're looking at 2 of the best in the business who are 22 years old right here tonight.
2-1 to Brandon Phillips. Had a 15-game hitting streak come to an end last night. We spoke with him before the game today, and he said he was having a really hard time generating any power off that back leg. It's the right hamstring that is bothering Brandon Phillips. And now the 2-2 pitch from Kershaw. Fouled out of play. The Reds batting order tonight, a combined 3 out of 18 against Clayton Kershaw going into the game. It's not many at bats, obviously, when you're talking about really 8 guys. You throw Mike Leake out of the mix.
Why? He got the highest batting average of anybody on the ball club.
Very well put. And you see Phillips, even in his follow-through right there. I mean, he is just not right.
And you know what? If you sense that as a pitcher, I mean, here he's really just trying to do it with his hands right there. I mean, he spreads out a little bit with 2 strikes anyway, but you see him try to loosen that leg. There's a knot in the back of that hamstring that just will not go away. Kershaw's coming right after him.
A breaking ball that didn't miss by much. Votto waiting, 1 down. It's a 3-2 pitch to Brandon Phillips. And we'll do it again. And you can just see the frustration in Brandon up there at the plate. You know. And he talked about it before the game. He said, I'm playing through it. He told you the same thing, Chris, yesterday. He said, I'm not going on the DL. It's not going to get any better. He's up there battling. This is the 9th pitch in this at bat. dribble through into right field, a base hit for Brandon Phillips. That's a good at bat.
I think that might be the understatement of the week right there, because Brandon Phillips battling his own injury, battling a guy that is one of the toughest in the league to hit, fouling him off, finally is able to punch it to the right side. I think Brandon Phillips may have to just adopt that kind of strategy until his leg starts feeling better. Slap it the other way, but get on base.
That'll bring Joey Votto to the plate, a .305 batter, 13 home runs, 41 batted in.
You know, this is one of those situations. A lot of times when you face a pitcher with the stuff of Clayton Kershaw, you want to go up swinging early in the count, because you don't want to get to a 2-strike count with him, because he can put you away. His stuff is that nasty. But since he leads the league in bases on balls, you may want to be a little more patient. And you wonder, can he throw you 3 strikes before he throws you 4 balls? He has walked 44 already, and that leads the league.
Two and one to Joey Votto. Big swing and a miss on a fastball to even the count at 2-2. Told you the Reds and the Cardinals tied atop the National League Central going into play tonight with identical 36-29 records. The Cardinals will be gunning for the series sweep over Seattle. That game will get started in about 45 minutes from now. And Votto is out on strikes, 2 away.
You can count the number of breaking balls that Kershaw throws probably in the first inning on one hand. He's not messing around at all. It's just rare back playing, good old Powder River fastballs coming at you.
So a 2 away, Brandon Phillips at first base. Here's Scott Rowland. 14 home runs, 45 runs batted in, a .311 average for the Reds' third baseman. You hear about it all the time. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. But you look at the series right now, St. Louis is playing against Seattle. Seattle, of course, is the next Reds opponent beginning Friday night out at Safeco Field. And the timing for the Cardinals on their series during this week could not have been better. They did not have to face Cliff Lee, who has an ERA in the 2s. They did not have to face Felix Hernandez, who's among the best pitchers in all the American League, and the Reds faced those 2 guys the first 2 games in the series starting Friday night.
Hello.
Good breaking ball there to get ahead 0-2. You really got to wonder, Chris, how much we're going to see Brandon Phillips run until that hamstring gets any better.
Well, based on that lead, we're not going to see it at all. Kershaw's not an easy guy to run off of anyway. I mean, you can see by his delivery, he really doesn't have much of a leg lift out of the stretch. He just kind of leans a little bit, and it's almost a slide step every time. He's given up 3 stolen bases. They've thrown out 3. He's picked off 1. And he's had 3 pitcher caught stealing. So you add them all together, and you're out more than you're safe.
As soon as we say that, Brandon Phillips is running. And here's a fly ball into short left field. Man, he can't find it. Now he tracks it down, and that'll end the inning. So a hit, a man left. We played 1. We are scoreless. lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. And the Reds bullpen continues to be a heavy topic of debate. Just getting outs, whether they be in wins or in games where you're trailing and you're trying to stay in games.
Well, some outs are bigger than others, and I think that's what we're trying to impress right here, is that when you come in and runners are on, those are the outs that are most important.
Nice play by Brandon Phillips on a hot smash off the bat of James Loney, one away.
You say that every night, don't you?
Every night. It's amazing how easy he makes plays look that are far from that.
I mean, how lucky have we been really in Cincinnati in this generation as far as great defensive second baseman? We don't need to go all the way back to Joe Morgan, although, you know, Joe Morgan, and I'm not sure whether it was Ronnie Oster who took over right after that or not, but, you know, he could flat out pick it. Then we have Brett Boone and Pokey Reese, both Gold Glove winners. Now Brandon Phillips. I mean, that's just spoiled on the right side of the infield there.
I don't know if any other franchise in baseball can make that claim at that position any better than the Reds, because, I mean, let's face it, whether you're talking about Phillips now or the other two guys you mentioned most recently, that were here for an extended period of time, being Pokey Reese and Brett Boone. I mean, those guys were considered to be the best during their time at their position for a number of years.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw anybody cover as much ground towards first base as I saw with Brett Boone. And then going towards the bag, Pokey Reese, who was a converted shortstop, excelled. He had that shortstop's arm, and I think Brandon does both of them.
Well, that didn't last long. That's the way you pitch Matt Kemp. And he has gone on strikes. That's two of them in the game for Mike Leake.
Oh, when you're struggling, you're falling in the bucket most of the time. This is what Kemp does, and when you're doing that, you better throw him sliders away. He opens his foot up just ever so slightly, takes a sweet spot of the bat off the ball right there if he was able to make contact. And that's the way you're going to keep it on him until he makes the adjustment.
First two gone in the LA second inning. A scoreless game for Casey Blake.
You know, Mike Leake, on the heels of watching Hiroki Kuroda pitch last night, very similar styles. I mean, Kuroda's 35 years old. He's been around a long time. 3 years now in the major leagues. He had 11 years in the Japanese Central League. But very similar styles. And I wonder if Mike Leake even made that connection last night. How the ball runs in, runs away, changes speeds, keeps it down, and never really gives the hitter a feeling of comfort in there. Now, Kuroda didn't wake anybody up by buzzing him under the chin, but he pitched inside just enough to get you off his fastball and to get you off the outside corner. And Mike Leake does very effectively the same thing.
Well, they come in on Blake there, and he's able to just drop it down the right field line for a hit. Second Dodger hit of the game against Mike Leake, and both have come with 2 outs in an inning and nobody on.
Now, the old saying from pitching coaches that 2-out singles don't hurt you, unless, of course, they're followed up by 2-out doubles. But that's a pretty good pitch right there. You see he gets it right on the trademark. The bat wobbles at contact right there on our Exmo look at it, and he just fights it off. Sometimes you just get those.
Well, now Blake DeWitt stands in, the 8-hole hitter at 269, and he takes a strike. DeWitt with 1 home run and 23 runs batted in. And Leake ahead of him at 0-2. Straightaway center field, shading his eyes from the sun, Drew Stubbs, and the inning is over. A hit a man left, middle of the second, still a scoreless game.
his curveball. And our Exmo, watch the rotation. He's got his middle finger on the seam, and boy, this is a textbook way of releasing it. The hammer release, kind of like a karate chop, and look at that end over end spin. This is why a curveball curves. It hits the wind, the resistance of the air in front of it, and look at that baby just drop right down. Brandon Phillips anticipates the ball being higher than it is. The ball dropping in on him, and it takes good arm speed to impart a lot of spin on the ball. The more spin, the more it breaks. The faster you throw your fastball, the more arm speed you have. That's why the best curveballs are also those pitchers that throw the best fastballs.
Johnny Gomes to lead things off. He'll be followed by Jay Bruce and then Drew Stubbs. Johnny, 9 home runs, 47 runs batted in. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike to Johnny Gomes. Well, if you're in that race for the RBI lead in the National League, you better not have an off night. That one ripped over the head of Ramirez into left field. And this will be a stand-up double for Johnny Gomes to begin the Reds' second inning.
Johnny Gomes is riding some kind of a high right now. Boy, he gets a pitch out over the center of the plate. That bad background to hit in doesn't matter anything to Gomes. That's a good level, controlled swing. You know, the more we see him play, the more he has impressed me as a professional hitter. Not just some guy up there who's wheeling it every time he sees a fastball.
Well, at the minimum, let's see if Jay Bruce can get him down to third base. Hits are very tough to come by. We've documented already against Kershaw. And a high pop-up will not advance the runner anywhere. 1 away in the inning. Well, we remind you right now, if you want to talk baseball with Hall of Fame baseball writer Hal McCoy, you can do so by logging on to FoxSportsOhio.com, presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. You know, we're talking about you can't run in place in that RBI race. It was only 3 days ago Johnny Gomes led the league with 47. He's not had an RBI the last 2 games. David Wright is as hot as any player on the planet. He is now the league leader with 50. Pujols and Troy Gloss with 49. Then Gomes, Casey McGee, and Corey Hart, each with 47. Boy, David Wright is single-handedly thrown that Mets club on his shoulders, and they are rolling. 0-1 to Drew Stubbs. Breaking ball that runs in on him, and he comes up empty. Stubbs had 3 hits and 4 at-bats last night. Johnny Gomes, a runner out at second base, 1 out. Drew Stubbs with a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes, and that one is popped up as well. So after a leadoff double, Gomes still stands at second, and now they're 2 out with the 8-hole hitter Ramon Hernandez coming up. Certainly the Dodgers are keeping an eye on what's transpiring in day games out west today. The Giants behind Tim Lincecum beat Baltimore. Giants lost last night to the Orioles. May remember going into play last night, the Dodgers and Giants were both tied a half game in second place behind San Diego in the West. The Padres, meanwhile, are tied 1-1 with Toronto. That game in the 4th inning at Petco Park. Strike 1 to Ramon Hernandez. Of course, the Reds in these positions have been so good all year long. Runners in scoring position, that is. leading the major leagues with a .297 average. But so far, including tonight, they're 1 for their last 10 in those situations. Hernandez trying to change that, but he's behind 0-2. They appeal and nothing doing, says Jerry Lane. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Ramon Hernandez. Gomes began the inning with a double off the left field wall, but Kershaw getting down to business. Gets Jay Bruce and then Drew Stubbs to pop up. Now he's gone 2-2 on Hernandez, who lines one softly on one bounce to DeWitt, who bobbles but has time to throw out Hernandez, and that'll retire the side. So a wasted double by Gomes. And he wasn't lying. For a call in the game last night, 5 hits, knocked in 2, scored a couple of runs, but retired his only time up tonight so far against Mike Lee. Clayton Kershaw to be followed by for a call, and then Russell Martin here in the Dodger 3rd inning of a scoreless game. Brandon Phillips flips it in the air. Very sloppy play right there by Phillips. That's the only word to describe it. He had plenty of time with Kershaw running. Votto had not even turned around.
And I think he was probably hoping that Joey Votto maybe was as good an athlete as he was. He's kind of flips it to him, but Votto's got his back to him. Votto's doing the right thing, getting to the bag, then turning and giving Brandon Phillips plenty of time to throw it to him. Brandon just anticipated Votto looking over his shoulder earlier. It didn't happen. And unfortunately, the pitcher of all people reaches here to start the inning off.
That'll be an error on Brandon Phillips, and now the batter is Rafael for a call.
First of the year, right?
Down to third base line, rolling the acrobatic juggle, and then the catch for the first out of the inning.
That was over his head, kind of spinning away from him right there, and he bats it with his glove, keeps the wherewithal enough to be able to barehand it. Nice play.
What a nice play that was by Rowland. So now Russell Martin with a man on and one out. Martin flied out to right his first time up. Reds really playing Martin as a pull hitter, and clearly that's what the scouting report tells him he likes to do, and it tells you something about how they plan on pitching him. But I'll be darned, through the years watching Russell Martin hit, I think I've seen him get a lot of base hits to right field in his career. And Phillips really cheating back up through the middle of the field.
Might be an indication as to how the Reds want to pitch Russell Martin. Come inside with a fastball, as he does right there, just maybe trying to keep it under his hands. Last night, I think it was Martin that hit into a ground ball double play off the bat, off a pitch from Aaron Harang on an inside fastball. So I think that's what the scouting report's telling him.
One and two to Russell Martin. And they do come inside once again. They miss this time to even account at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Martin has bounced into 5 double plays so far this year. Leake would like nothing more than number 6 right here. Instead, he struck him out. 3 of them in the game for Mike Leake.
And he's gotten all of them on the off-speed pitch, either a changeup or a slider from Mike Leake. He gets them set up by using a fastball early. That's a changeup. And really, for Mike Leake, it's more of a dead fish pitch or a batting practice fastball. Comes in there around 82 miles an hour. His fastball is about 88 to 91. But he pitches 88 to 90. So when you throw your changeup only about 8 miles an hour or less, not a true changeup, more of just kind of changing speeds on your heater.
Breaking ball, strike 1 to Andre Ethier, who singled his first time up.
The grip on Mike Leake's changeup, kind of a modified circle change right there. He takes his index finger off the ball. He gets out there and will kind of pronate his hand, turn it over, so his pinky finger ends up on top when he finally releases it.
Hit a mile down the right field line, but foul. Ethier hit a 2-strike pitch for a single into right field in the first inning. And Leake ahead of him 0-2 here in the third with 1 on and 2 men out. Leake a long look in at the home plate umpire Hunter Wendelstedt after that was called a ball. Mike thought he had him strike 3. Well, Leake should be out of the inning. Instead, he's facing the best batter so far this year, and certainly he was last year in the Dodger batting order. Kershaw able to reach on an error to start this third inning. Leake's retired the next 2. That's off the end of the bat into shallow center field, and it'll be out of the glove of Drew Stubbs. And that'll be a base hit, I would assume. for Andre Ethier, and on to third goes Kershaw. So now this extended inning where the Dodgers are given a fourth out continues.
Well, you know, he got a bad jump on this ball. I think the ball, he's standing up in the sunlight as you see him right there. When he started that play, he's kind of staring into the sun. This is a very difficult center and left field to play this time of night. Got a bad jump on it and consequently had to come in to try to make a sliding catch. Could not hang on to it. So a couple of tough luck plays for Mike Leake.
Well, here's Manny Ramirez. Leake struck him out to end the Dodger first inning. And starts him with a strike on the outside corner this time. And Ramirez has something to say to Hunter Wendelstedt. By the inside corner and missed just off of it to even to count it 1-1.
Manny's not seeing the ball well off of Mike Leake right now. Had a terrible swing his first time up to strike out, and I don't think he saw that last fastball at all. Let's hope not.
Foul tip into the mid of Hernandez. One more strike, one more out to go for Mike Leake to get out of this 2-on, 2-out jam in the third inning. Try to get him to chase that pitch he did back in the first inning. Two and two on Manny Ramirez. And it's ball three. Well, you just got to hope this young man can find a way to pitch out of what has been certainly a 4-out inning for the Dodgers. Could make an argument a 5-out inning for the Dodgers. Now, this inning should have been over a long time ago. But instead, you're facing the heart of the batting order with men on base. And the runner at first will get started. Andre Ethier, payoff to Ramirez, and we'll do it again. Leake's had to go through 20 pitches so far in this inning. Not a huge number. You consider, though, what that might mean down the road. He should have been out of it in 10 pitches. 3-2. Roland plays a hot smash and throws out Ramirez. So a nice job by Mike Leake. A hit, an error, 2 left, middle of the third, still no score. And his scoreless inning streak, 59 in a row, that began on August the 30th, 1988, and of course broken up against the Reds opening day the following year when Todd Benzinger knocked in Barry Larkin. But in 1988, he was simply the man. Orel Hershiser won the Cy Young, the National League Championship Series Most Valuable Player, the World Series MVP. Heck, he even won a Gold Glove. And of course, many forget, and many would make the argument that were it not for that scoreless inning streak, that Danny Jackson would have received a pile of Cy Young Award votes that year, because you look at their overall numbers, comparing every category there was, and Danny Jackson won 23 games that year for the Reds. But when you rip off 59 straight scoreless innings, good chance you're going to win a Cy Young.
You're going to get the emotional vote, that's for certain. Boy, did he have a nasty sinker that year. I mean, bottom dropping out of it. In on the thumbs.
You know, it's interesting to note, as proud as this Dodger franchise has been, and it certainly has been one of the best, especially from moving New York to Los Angeles. That 1988 season is still the last year the Los Angeles Dodgers played in a World Series. That is hard to believe. One and two to Mike Leake. 10 hits and 25 at bats for Leake. Don't forget a day game tomorrow at 12:35. We won't have television for you. You can listen to the game on the Reds radio network or come on down to the ballpark. The Dodgers have made a change in their rotation after they placed Defiance, Ohio native Chad Billingsley on the disabled list. He has an injured groin. So they'll go with John Eli, and he has another Ohio connection, pitched collegiately at Miami of Ohio. And he'll be opposed by Bronson Arroyo. Leake gone swinging. That's 2 of them tonight for Clayton Kershaw. Well, every night, if a Reds player hits one of the Toyota signs, in tonight's case, Crystal Selby of Cincinnati will win the beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. And you can register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. One out, nobody on. Scoreless game. Orlando Cabrera looks at strike one. Well, here for about 5 or 10 minutes is where the batter is standing in the sunshine as the sun fades to the west directly behind home plate.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that that bothers a hitter as much as having that background bright. At least now, most of the background is dark. There is a panel of white where the sun seems to sneak through the top of the stadium.
Nice catch there in front of the tarp and in front of the stands made by Andre Ethier in foul ground. 2 away.
And especially considering it's a visiting player coming in here, not used to where that tarp is. Boy, Ethier comes in and makes it look very easy. Just a good all-around athlete.
So now Brandon Phillips, the batter. He had a single into right field in the first inning. But then Kershaw retired Votto and Rolen to get out of the opening inning. Strike one to Phillips. And a perfect 2 for 2 is Brandon Phillips after having that 15-game hitting streak come to an end here last night. Well, what a homestand he has had. And then you got to take out the game 2 days ago because he didn't play on Sunday. And then hitless last night. But with the 2 hits tonight, Brandon Phillips on this homestand is now 16 for 31.
What a good-looking swing right there. I mean, you talk about staying in balance, getting good extension, keeping your head down, your front shoulder, your left shoulder in to go down and get that low pitch. Well, that is a classic swing.
Now Joey Votto with 1 on and 2 out. Strike 1. Of course, Votto's such a perfectionist, wants to be the best at everything and in every area that he can be. In the batting cages, up behind the Reds clubhouse before the game tonight, he's in there all by himself with a pitching machine going, and guess what he was doing? Bunting.
Yeah.
He's out on strikes for the second time against Clayton Kershaw. 1 hit, 1 left. End of 3 is. Toyota dealer where you can register to win the Tundra at Great American Ballpark. By JTM, food, family, fun, JTM. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by GMC, we are professional grade. Well, Joe Torre talking things over with the home plate umpire Hunter Wendelstedt about what? Not real sure.
Any idea what that was about?
Absolutely no clue. But Joe apparently didn't like what he heard from Hunter Wendelstedt.
Hunter finally pointed to the dugout and said, go take a seat, Joe. Or a shower. You decide.
And Joe chose the seat. James Loney to begin things in the Dodger 4th inning against Mike Lee. And it's 2 balls and a strike. Loney had a hit taken away on a hot smash to the backhand side of Brandon Phillips, who threw him out in the 2nd inning. Loney, Kemp, and Blake, the trio to start things in the LA 4th. Well, he couldn't ask for a more perfect early summer day and summer night tonight. There's another hot smash. And again, Phillips able to field it cleanly. Well, I mean, everything coming off James Loney's bat right now has a trail of smoke behind it.
Hit it to the wrong guy, though.
I remember them talking about they had the nickname the Jacksonville Five. All these young Dodger players. Jacksonville is one of their minor league teams. And all those guys coming up together. That guy right there, Matt Kemp, one of them. And Russell Martin in that group, and Ethier in that group. And you look at all the skills of guys like Ethier and Kemp, and I mean, it'll take your breath away with some of the things they can do athletically, especially that guy right there, Kemp. But Loney was always a guy that was overlooked all the way back to their single-A, double-A days. But boy, he is a slick fielding first baseman, and certainly becoming one of the better and most underrated players, not only on the Dodger team, but in all the National League. He had the single biggest hit that year. The Dodgers a couple of years ago went into the division series as heavy underdogs against the Chicago Cubs. And Loney hit that grand slam, you may remember, in Game 1 against former Red Ryan Dempster. And many will tell you that crack of the bat sent the Cubs into a tailspin. Runner goes, throw to second, and safe at second base is Kemp.
Well, he had a pretty big lead right there, but the throw by Ramon Hernandez sailed a little bit. A little sailing throw that went to the right side of the bag, and it took a little extra second there for Brandon Phillips to get the tag down. That's the only reason he was in there safe. And I mean, safe by an eyelash. A delayed call by the second base umpire, Brian Runge.
Well, no another Dodger in scoring position. They left a runner at third base in the third inning. And it's 2-0 to Casey Blake. Two and one. They appealed down to first base on a check swing by Blake, and Jerry Lane said he didn't go. 3-1 now on the Dodger third baseman. Tapper by the mound. Phillips will throw out Blake. On to third goes Matt Kemp, and there are two out in the inning. Time now for our AT&T trivia question. After that stolen base a moment ago by Matt Kemp, we ask you who is the last Red to steal 5 bases in a single game, as the Reds are going to intentionally walk the number 8 hitter, Blake DeWitt. You want to take a stab at that one?
And, you know, I'm not so sure how far you have to go back on that. Obviously, he's got to be a fast runner. You have to go all the way back to Eric Davis or Eddie Milner. You know, Vince Coleman was a Red for a while. Ryan Friel.
Ryan Friel, the most recent of that group.
Obviously.
Friel had some big stolen base years. That may not be a bad guess.
It would be a guess.
Yes.
You called it right.
Well, all of them are a guess.
It's a kind of trivia question that unless you were here, and if it's Ryan Friel, it probably was, and still don't remember it.
Yeah.
So it's a guess.
It's quite
Those are the kind of things you can look up, right? Like your phone number if you forget.
Well, yeah. I mean, now on cell phones, you can just look it up right on your phone.
Sometimes you even forget because you have it under speed dial. So your speed dial, you know, cracks out on you. You don't know what your number is.
That's exactly right.
Say, hey, call me so I know what my number is, please.
It's happened to all of us.
Yeah.
And will happen again.
And if it doesn't, it hasn't yet, it will.
1-1 to Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw hit the ball on the ground his first time up to Brandon Phillips, who made a throwing error. That was just 1 inning ago. Two-one pitch. Slow roller to Cabrera. He'll throw to first, and that will retire the side. The Dodgers strand 2 more. They've left 6. Still no score. Fantasy camp. That's in Goodyear, Arizona, at the Red state-of-the-art baseball complex, which they moved into, of course, earlier this year. In 2011, the fantasy camp runs from February 5th through the 12th. And for more information, visit Reds.com/fantasycamp. And Chris, I would imagine you'll be there again in February 2011.
I certainly hope so. Had to miss last year because the Reds caravan conflicted in the schedule with the fantasy camp down there. That's the one question that you didn't get to ask of Tony Moss last night during your interview of him, that because he's a regular at fantasy camp.
Is he really?
He's got to have been down there probably a dozen years at least.
No kidding.
Pretty good player, too. A lot of moxie. Talent beginning to wane, you know, now that he's hit the big 5-0. But
you didn't say that when he was here last night.
I didn't get to say anything.
I was pointing at you like, are you going to help me here? And you looked at me like I was cross-eyed. There's a roller. Yeah, that's right. As Rowland is retired to begin the inning. Well, it's time to answer our trivia question presented by AT&T tonight. Who was the last Red to steal 5 bases in a single game? We took a stab at it. Well, there you have it. And I'll bet you were here in 2005.
Yes, I was.
At Dodger Stadium. That's Jeff Weaver on the mound. He's back with him again.
He was a running fool that night, Ryan Freel was. You talk about a guy that could just explode into a full-blown sprint, maybe 1 or 2 steps into it. You know, the amazing thing about Ryan Freel, he was a catcher in junior college before he was drafted into professional baseball. And he set the Florida State record in the most stolen bases in junior college down there, as not only as a catcher, but for anybody. But he was a catcher.
I saw where he just recently retired.
Did he?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
So he laid it out there for you, boy, every single night. He was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Now Johnny Gomes, he doubled off the left field wall, leading off the second inning. And he hits this one in the air to short right. And just like that, the first two Reds are set down by Kershaw here in the fourth inning. Leake has had to work and work hard to get out of the last two innings. Dodgers stranding 2 in the third, 2 more in the fourth. And Kershaw really outside of that leadoff double by Gomes in the second inning, barely breaking a sweat.
Yeah, well, the scary thing about Kershaw is that he's beginning to throw more and more strikes. You still see pitches like that, unintentionally up and out of the zone, which makes him that effectively wild kind of a guy. But, you know, the more strikes he throws, the fewer walks. He's missing bats at a rate that's unprecedented even for him. And left-handers, I mean, the way he dominates left-handers, he is maybe the toughest left-handed pitcher in the league to get a hit off of if you're a left-handed hitter. I mean, he's averaging close to 14 strikeouts per 9 innings against lefties.
And he's even on Jay Bruce at 2-2. He's already struck out left-handed batting Joey Votto in each of his first 2 trips tonight. Bruce swung at the first pitch his last time up and popped up to the second baseman. And there's another strikeout to a left-handed batter. 4 strikeouts in the game for Kershaw. 4 innings in the book. But he became part of the very heart and soul of some great Dodger teams in the mid-70s into the early 80s. A former National League Championship Series most valuable player. And they still very much have a soft spot in their collective hearts, Dodger fans do, for Dusty Baker. Dusty was traded to the Dodgers in 1975 at the end of the year. His first full year was with the Dodgers in '76. He didn't have a good year that year. He got hurt. There's a base hit into center field by Furcal. But boy, the next year, his career took off in '77. Hit 30 home runs, knocked in 86 runs. And during that league championship series, which he was the leading hitter for the Dodgers, he hit .357. The following year is when he was the LCS MVP, again against the Phillies. Hit .467, 7 of 15. Played in 4 postseasons with LA. 4 LCS and 3 World Series. Well, now what do the Dodgers do? Obviously, in a scoreless game, do you ask Martin to bunt? Do you play hit and run? Do you straight steal? And none of the above on that swing by Martin.
Well, with the way that these teams have scored so many runs in the 4 games that they've played against each other so far this year, 65 runs coming into this ball game in just 4 previous contests. One of those was a game pitched by Mike Leake. This certainly has taken on the more of a pitching duel type game rather than a big offensive game. Got 2 young 22-year-olds on the top of their respective games holding down the offenses.
0-1 to Martin. And a liner into left center field, a base hit. For a call is going to slam on the Blakes after a hard turn. And then the throw comes all the way back to Ramon Hernandez. Well, the Dodgers have 2 on with nobody out to start this 5th inning.
And now you get down to the middle part of this order. The 3 guys that you were talking about earlier, Ethier, Ramirez, and James Loney. Back to back to back. Boy, it's a tough row to hoe here for Mike Leake as he goes forward. Just hung that breaking ball up a little bit high for Russell Martin, who punched it into center field.
Ethier, a perfect 2 for 2 tonight, is single to right and single to center. Third straight inning, the Dodgers have had 2 men on base.
You got to give Mike Leake a lot of credit, though. I mean, right now I know he's been battling hard. He's had 6 hits already. He's left a lot of guys on base. But, boy, he is not afraid to pitch to both sides of the plate. He comes right in there, first couple of guys on base, and right in on Andre Ethier. I mean, with a fastball, challenging him right there, saying, here, hit it. But he gets it just far enough inside enough that Ethier can't keep that baby fair. So now you get 0-1. You set yourself up. You can change speeds. He pulls the string on the last pitch. Ethier's way out in front. Now he's in control 0-2. He'd love to have Ethier hit his pitch right here and not miss it. Hit it into a ground ball.
Very impressive numbers in these situations for Andre Ethier. Of course, he's been good in every situation. Came into the series as the leading batter in the National League. And Leake strikes him out. The huge out for Leake. And that is his 4th strikeout tonight.
But if you watch the pitches in this at bat, one side of the plate, then the other side of the plate, then this side of the plate, and finally the breaking ball down and in, Ethier can't hold back. Gets a huge strikeout right there.
So now Manny Ramirez, who has struck out and hit a hot one-hop smash down to Roland, who knocked it down with his chest and threw out Ramirez, stranding 2 to end the 3rd inning. Ramirez, of course, as we talked about at length last night, for the better part of a decade and 3 quarters, has been the best, not one of the best. He has been the best run producer in all of Major League Baseball. The most RBIs among all active players in the game. Two and one on Manny Ramirez. Oh, a beauty of a breaking ball, and Manny wasn't looking for that.
You know, Manny Ramirez, and we talked about this in the pregame show, is a well-prepared hitter. He's just not some guy up there with dreadlocks wheeling the lumber. He knows what pitchers throw, and this is an unusual pitch for Mike Leake. He does not throw too many of these slow curveballs, and that's why he fooled Manny Ramirez so badly on that one.
And may have gotten away with one, really, because the catcher was set up outside. They're coming back in again, then set up away. Last second, Hernandez moving around. But with a guy like Ramirez, 3-2, do you start the runners here with one out? It's an old Bobby Cox trick, who does it with a lot of his batters. With one out in an inning, he'll start runners on 3-2 with one out. Let's see if Joe Torre will do it. And the runners do not go, and they're loaded on ball 4 outside.
Now, we've seen this kind of thing out of Mike Leake before, and for a young pitcher, it's kind of an uncanny trait that you can, almost like an unintentional intentional walk right there. He knows that Manny Ramirez is the Albert Pujols of the Dodger lineup. Now, James Loney's been hitting the ball hard very well, but I think you pick one guy, and it's Manny Ramirez, who you're not going to let beat you, not the way he swung the bat last night. And he has done so in his career against the Reds. So did not want to make a mistake there, and he's going to take a chance right here and see if he can't get Loney to roll over on one.
Loney has hit 2 rockets right at Brandon Phillips. And there's strike 1 on the outside corner. I don't know if Loney can hit 2 balls on the ground any harder than he has tonight. If he hits 1 more of those at Brandon Phillips, this will be a double play to get out of the inning. Scoreless game. They're loaded for the Dodgers here in the 5th. And that is a fair ball down the right field line to put LA on the board. And there is James Loney yet again. A 2-run double by Loney, who had 4 hits last night, 3 of them doubles.
Well, he gets jammed badly on this pitch, Loney does, but with the first baseman well off the bag, you're playing deep, you got the bases loaded, you don't have to hold the runner, and that ball goes between Joey Votto at first and the first base bag and goes down there for a double. Not hit all that hard, but hard enough to get through the infield.
Well, now this Dodger inning continues. I mean, they're looking for a knockout punch here. Brian Price out to the mound to talk with Leake and Ramon Hernandez. The inning began with singles for Coleman Martin after a strikeout of Ethier. Leake got ahead of Manny Ramirez and wound up walking it. And then Loney hooks one down the line to drive in 2. And here comes Matt Kemp.
Well, with the way that Matt Kemp's been swinging the bat, and he comes in here very cold. He does have a hit tonight. Leake took care of him the first time up with a well-placed slider away. And then he hung a slider on a 1-0 pitch his last time. If you get that ball down and away, Kemp will pull off of it. You got a chance to get at least a ground ball and maybe not score a run here. Although the Reds are going to concede a run with the infield back.
Ball and a strike to Matt Kemp. Told you Kemp over the last month and a half going into this series had just 4 home runs and just 13 runs batted in. But he had a couple of hits and a couple of RBIs last night. 1-1 on Matt Kemp. And he rolls over one, a ground ball you were talking about that will not bring in a run, and that's a second out of the inning, and everybody stays put.
Now that's the advantage of having that ball hit down to one of the corner infielders. Third base, the runner at third certainly isn't going anywhere. Manny Ramirez, no speedster unless you run at the crack of the bat, and even then you're probably out. So Mike Leake now can really limit the damage here to 2 runs if he can get Casey Blake out.
Blake tonight is singled into right field and grounded out to Brandon Phillips,
who in this situation, I feel Casey Blake is as tough a hitter as anybody in this lineup. This guy is just a grinder.
First pitch breaking ball swung on and missed. Those numbers back up what you're talking about. Very good indeed, especially when his overall season batting average is nearly 100 points less. In the air, playable for Johnny Gomes, shy of the track and on to the track to end the inning. But the Dodgers get 2 on the 2-run double by Loney, and it's a 2-0 ball game. Ohio.com right now. You enter the keyword fastball, all one word, fastball, and every entry has a chance to win, and what a party it'll be. A catered bash for 20 from Curly's Barbecue. You get a 50-inch high definition television and a $500 gas card. So good luck. All right, Clayton Kershaw now takes him out with a 2-0 lead. 1 pitch, 1 out on a line drive by Stubbs right at Manny Ramirez. Latter third coming up, and Kershaw looking for another quick inning. Mike Leake has already thrown nearly 100 pitches in this game. Kershaw a little more than half that number. Just sort of hard to understand that a guy, as Chris Welsh pointed out before he ever threw a pitch tonight, who, yes, as we talked about, is one of the most difficult pitchers in the league to hit. He was the toughest pitcher to hit last year in all of Major League Baseball. The 5th toughest this year. Opponents are batting .202 against him. But a guy who in 77 innings had walked 44 batters. He does not have a single walk tonight. In fact, I cannot even remember a 3-ball count to a batter in the game tonight, and I could be wrong.
Well, this is one of the things that the Dodger people were talking about when they came into town, Tom, about how Clayton Kershaw is now gotten to the point in his career where he's ready to take over that ace spot, to be the #1 stopper in this rotation. And they were hoping that he would be this guy ever since they drafted him back in 2006. You don't know at the time. They picked him 7th in the draft, in the 1st round, out of high school. but he has come a long way real fast.
That ball blistered down the left field line by Hernandez. And that'll be off the wall, and Manny fires it back in there, holding Hernandez to a loud single. That ball kissed right there.
Yeah, it was really kissed, and I think Ramon thought he had a home run right there because he kind of gazed at it a little bit in the batter's box. I mean, if you hit it this hard, you're going to take a look at it and a little bit of a jog. Now, I'm not so sure he gets to second base anyway, even if he's running hard. But that ball was blistered and just about 2 feet from being out of here.
Well, here's Mike Leake. He struck out his first time up. The Dodgers believe that he'll be up there to bunt. He shortens up, and a throw will send Hernandez back to the bag. Mike has 4 of those sacrifices so far this year. Cardinals and the Mariners are underway at Busch Stadium. No score in that game in the second inning. Jaime Garcia for the Redbirds. Jason Vargas on the mound for the Mariners. Reds offense, which leads the National League in virtually every major statistical category. After the explosion they had, 11 runs on 12 hits Saturday night. Really shut down by Zach Greinke in a complete game, allowing just 3 runs. 2 of those came in the first inning, and the third one came in the 9th inning on a home run by Joey Votto. And of course, they were shut out last night, and so far again tonight. 0-2 to lead. Aaron Harang down there doing a little work on his glove.
Yeah, cutting off some excess leather with a razor blade. I remember back in the days when pitchers used to put razor blades in their gloves.
2-strike bunt by Leake will advance a runner. That's 5 of them now for Mike Leake, and Hernandez in a scoring position.
In fact, if I'm not mistaken, it was the Dodger pitching coach who was caught one time with some thumbtacks in his glove back in the day. He wasn't the only one that tried it. He was just one of the few that got caught.
Here's Orlando Cabrera. Up and away, ball 1. There is little debate about that one. Cabrera for 2 in the game. And a base hit into left field. They are going to wave around the runner. Here comes a throw by Manny Ramirez. One hot slide. Tag out at the plate. Hernandez claiming he wasn't tagged. At least not before his hand got the plate. You be the judge as we go to break. Ramirez denies the Reds their first run of the game. Looked like Hernandez might have a case. Let's take it another angle. Ooh, very close.
you think the 6th or 7th inning could be just as big as the 9th, text your answer to 37664. Standard text message rates apply. And as we go back upstairs, guys, I guess if you used that guy in the 6th or 7th inning, it would be tough to call him a closer. But that's just nitpicking.
Well, I don't think you're nitpicking at all. I mean, it's 100% correct. You start bringing in guys who are closers in the 6th or 7th inning, and they won't be closers anymore.
I think ideally what you have is a guy that can potentially be a closer in a year or two that you use in that 6th or 7th or 8th inning, and you use your closer as a closer. And after a few years, when your closer gets too expensive or the other guy gets so good you can't keep him suppressed anymore, and you move on out and you bring up the other.
I tell you, you know, you can go back and forth on this forever, but I think the best philosophy I've heard on it was Bruce Bochy. All the years he was in San Diego, and the one year that the Padres were trying to reach a playoffs, I can't remember if it was 97 or 98. He started bringing in Trevor Hoffman as there's a walk to Blake DeWitt to begin the Dodgers 6th. He'd start bringing him in 8th innings as they were starting to try and get into the playoffs that year. And the following year, Hoffman, the only time in his career he had major arm problems. And Bochy made Hoffman a promise: never again will I ever bring you into a game unless it's the 9th inning in a safe situation. There would be tie games, that kind of thing, but never again am I going to do it in the 8th inning. He never did it again unless you get to the postseason.
Well, then, of course, you have the other way, that I believe that in the years that Joe Torre managed the New York Yankees, he did bring Mariano Rivera in more than once in the 8th inning to get a 5 or a 4 or 6 out save. But of course, you're talking about one of a kind there in Mariano Rivera.
Yeah, in fact, I think Mariano Rivera has the most 4 and 5 out saves in the history of baseball. But a lot of times you'd see Torre do that again in those critical games. He wouldn't do it in May and June. Now, he might do it in September, and we know he did it a lot in October. That one bunted, and Votto will throw out the pitcher Kershaw, who puts down the sacrifice, advancing DeWitt on to second base, 1 out in the inning. So here comes Rafael for a call, who had the 5 hits last night. Mike Leake retired him his first 2 times tonight. But then for a call, led off the 5th inning with a base hit into center field and scored the first of 2 against Leake, the only 2 runs for either team tonight. In the air, left field, and Gomes has it for the 2nd out of the inning. Dodgers have the 2 runs on 7 hits. Mike Leake has walked 3, 1 intentionally. He's fanned 4 and trails 2-0. And Russell Martin with a 2-out hit into right field. They're going to hold the runner as Bruce fires it back into the cutoff man Votto. All of a sudden, Russell Martin has become a factor offensively for the Dodgers tonight.
Well, here he is hitting the ball the other way, like you said. And, you know, it's no coincidence that the Dodgers continue to hit well. I mean, they've only scored 2 runs tonight. But 9 times this year, the Dodgers have faced a pitcher for the 2nd time. The first time these pitchers have faced the Dodgers, their earned run average has been around 4.9. And the Dodgers' record is 5-3. The 2nd time the Dodgers faced that same pitcher, the earned run average of that pitcher goes up to 5.3, and the Dodgers record is 7-1. So that is what Mike Leake is looking at tonight. Familiarity breeds success. Success for the Dodgers.
Now Leake's going to have to come after Andre Ethier one more time. This is the 4th time through the batting order for Mike Leake. Ethier is single to right, single to center, and struck out. Well, Leake has been in trouble seemingly every inning. The Dodgers have had a base runner in every inning. They left 2 on in the 3rd, 2 on in the 4th. Scored 2 runs, left 2 on in the 5th, and now 2 more on here in the 6th. And that one hit a ton, and that one breaks this one wide open. It's 5-0. Andre Ethier, his 12th home run of the season and his 3rd hit tonight.
Now they got a breaking ball right there. This time around, Mike Leake throwing a few more of those curveballs. That at 78 miles an hour. And Ethier, who is the hottest hitter in the National League, or the best hitter right now statistically, adds a home run to his 3 hits on the night. No doubter.
And I'm sure Mike Leake after the game will be kicking himself, not necessarily on the home run ball, but the fact that to start this 6th inning, a 4-pitch walk to the number 8 hitter in the Dodger lineup. Logan Ondrusek getting loose in a hurry. 2-0 on Manny Ramirez, and that ball's in the air, and this should end the inning. But the Dodgers get a 3-run home run by Ethier and lead 5-0. Play at the plate in the bottom of the 5th inning. The slide by Ramon Hernandez. He thought he was safe. Hunter Wendelstedt said out. And the call should have been safe. And you never know how that changes the momentum of this game. At the time, had he been ruled safe, it would have been a 2-1 game with a runner at second base and 2 men out. The Dodgers take that momentum, carry it right into the 6th. And that was the Coors Light Freeze Can, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Dodgers get a 3-run home run by Andre Ethier in the 6th inning and lead 5-0. And probably safe to assume the night is over for Mike Leake. Brandon a perfect 2 for 2 tonight. A single to right and a single to center. 2-0. Clayton Kershaw has not walked the batter all night long. He's fanned 4 and allowed 5 base hits. And a 3-0 pitch called a strike. And a walk to start things here in the Red 6th. We remind you that replay returns with an all-new season. After 11 years, Gatorade reunites 2 high school rivals looking to finally settle the score. Documentary premieres Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Check local listings. Kershaw really worked over Joey Votto tonight. He struck him out twice. But this time, Votto loops one into right center field. It'll fall in for a hit. Votto stop at first, and on his way to third is Brandon Phillips. So for the first time all night long, the Reds have 2 on in an inning.
Boy, it's amazing that sometimes either catchers or pitchers just outthink themselves. He threw a fastball right by Joey Votto on the first pitch. Votto was a day late on it. And what does he do? He speeds the bat up by throwing the next pitch a breaking ball. Votto makes a nice adjustment on that. Gets a base hit to right center field. The Reds have something going. I still am not convinced that Votto is picking up that fastball well enough that he can square it up.
Well, now Scott Rowland 0 for 2 in the game. His fly to left and bounced to first, and he's down strike 1. One ball and 1 strike to Scott Rowland. Runners on the corners. Nobody out here in the Red 6th inning trying to get on the board for the first time, not only in his game, but in his series. Two and 1 to Scott Rowland. Kershaw, look at the runner. Runs a fastball in on Rowland's hands, who fouls it over the screen to even the count. Foul ball.
We're seeing same deal right there. It seems like Kershaw's throwing the fastball by the Reds hitters, and then the good swings they seem to have been coming on that breaking ball. Here's a curveball right there, and Rowland just a little out ahead of it. but he hit it very sharply. Looking heater right here.
I would think, but who knows? 2-2 to Roland. It was a heater and it was low. 94 miles per hour.
You know, some 94 miles an hour fastballs are faster than others. I know that sounds dumb, but I think Kershaw has a nice long stride. He gets great extension over his front leg. He's closer to home plate than a lot of pitchers are.
3-2 now to Roland. And strike 3 called. Roland disagrees. He cannot believe it. And he's been thrown out of the game.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was not only Scotty Rowland that went off on Hunter Wendelstedt. It was the entire Reds dugout. They all jumped up and down when Wendelstedt rung Rowland up, because from the dugout, all you see is high and low. You can't see in and out. And they jumped in unison when they saw that call by Hunter Wendelstedt. And Dusty Baker, who's been tossed, is absolutely livid.
Well, you take a look. How in the world is that called strike 3?
Man, oh man. I mean, you can miss a call on a 2-0 count, on a 1-1 count, but when you ring a batter up on a pitch that is nowhere near the strike zone, that's when you've made a mistake.
That would have loaded the bases with nobody out. That is a big-time call right there. Blown call by Hunter Wendelstedt. So Rowland's thrown out of the game. Dusty Baker is thrown out of the game. Chris Spire will certainly serve as the acting manager. And here's Johnny Gomes. What was amazing, you pointed it out, the Reds dugout, even the fans. I mean, the second that was called a strike, almost in unison, just rising out of their seats in disbelief. Breaking ball swung on and missed, and it's 0-2 to Johnny Gomes. Johnny doubled off the left field wall in the second inning. He flied out to short right in the fourth. It's 1-2 on Johnny Gomes with Brandon Phillips a runner at third, Joey Votto at first, only one out. And the Reds have work to do. Trailing 5-0. And Jim Day, you're standing right down there where Dusty Baker saw that last call.
Yeah, I've been down here in the camera well right by the Reds dugout for most of the game, and they've been chirping it at the umpire all night long, quietly, trying not to get his attention. And as you guys have said many times, from this vantage point, you can't see inside or outside of the strike zone, but you can certainly see a high or low ball. And Dusty Baker, I haven't seen him spring up so quickly for a call as that one. That was barely off the ground. It was a shocking call, to say the least. And that's as bad as we've seen Dusty Baker. He does not get thrown out of many games.
No, you're right. Two and two to count on Johnny. And Kershaw ready, and now the break-even pitch. And he chases a pitch and pops it up. Playable in right for Andre Ethier. He makes a catch. Brandon Phillips coming to the plate. Throw is not going to be in time, and the Reds get a run on a sac fly to make it a 5-1 game. Jay Bruce 0 for 2 has popped up to DeWitt at second and struck out. Grounded into center field, a base hit, and naturally you start thinking, woulda, coulda, shoulda. That would have been at least another run.
Rick Henny going to go out to talk to Clayton Kershaw, try to settle him down. In the meantime, I'd like to ask you Reds fans, how would you like to win 32 Reds tickets and be on TV? Just visit howdoyou32.com and show JTM How You 32. JTM, food, family, fun. Unusual inning for Kershaw, and as much as 2 left-handers have gotten base hits off of him. He is as stingy as they come with his regards to giving base hits to southpaws.
Reds with only 5 base runners through the first 5 innings tonight against Kershaw, and had that 3-2 pitch been called as it should have been to Scott Rowland, the Reds would have 4 base runners alone in this 6th inning.
You just hope that the offense is able to take over and score some runs in this ball game, because if it stays the way it is right now, that called strike 3 on Scott Rowland will be the topic of conversation post game. I hope it's not.
Breaking ball to Drew Stubbs low.
And the only way it won't be is if the Reds are able to come back and score 5 or 6 runs and get ahead.
Stubbs has popped up to second. He lined out to Manny Ramirez leading off the 5th.
Boy, a lot more breaking balls out of Clayton Kershaw this time, the 3rd time through the lineup.
Two on, 2 out, 1 ball and 1 strike on Stubbs. And a fastball away. And that one nearly thrown away by Russell Martin.
Somebody missed the pickoff sign right there, and I think it was James Loney.
Yep. And they might have had Jay Bruce.
Well, if Loney comes in like he should, and all he did was kind of half-step it to the line, he didn't give Russell Martin a whole lot of target to throw to down there. The Reds have turned that play many times. We've seen the Cardinals run that play. Every big league team does it, but Martin has called for it twice in his inning. Once with Votto, then once with Bruce.
2 balls and a strike meanwhile to Drew Stubbs with 2 on. 3-1. For the first time all night, Kershaw struggling with his command. He did not walk a single batter in the first 5 innings and should have 2 walks in this inning already. Now the runners will be on their way. Votto at second, Bruce at first. 3-2 pitch to Drew Stubbs. Here it is. Struck him out to end the inning. Reds get 1, lead 2. We go to the 7th. Dodgers in front 5-1. by your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com. By Grainger, with over 900,000 products for the ones who get it done. And by Wendy's, you know when it's real. Beautiful shot from the Commonwealth of Kentucky looking into downtown Cincinnati. Reds on the short end of a 5-1 game. Don't forget the first 30,000 fans of the ballpark on the next homestand. Sunday, June the 27th. It'll be the Reds and the Indians. And the first 30,000 fans through the gates get a Reds team baseball card set, courtesy of Cons. Great seats still available for the entire homestand against the Indians and the Philadelphia Phillies. Call 513-381-REDS or go to Reds.com. Miguel Cairo replaces the ejected Scott Rowland. And taking over for the dejected Mike Leake is Logan Ondrusek. Leake allows 5 runs in 6 innings tonight, and all 5 came in his final 2 innings.
Really very similar lines from Mike Leake, considering both the starts that he pitched this year against the Dodgers. Back on April the 22nd, he pitched, gave up 5 runs in 7 innings. Tonight, 5 runs in 6 innings.
Ondrusek came in following the 2-hour and 24-minute rain delay with runners on the corners here last night. It was a 3-0 game in the 5th. He allowed an RBI single to Manny Ramirez and an RBI single to the man who bats right now, James Loney. Loney a fly ball to Johnny Gomes in left field. Loney a big 2-run double to snap a scoreless tie in that 5th inning. Strike 1 to Matt Kemp. Kemp 1 of 3 in the game, struck out in the 2nd, a single, a stolen base in the 4th, grounded to 3rd in the 5th. One and 2 to Matt Kemp. That one in the air and will drift out of play. We send out a happy 55th birthday greeting to Joe Lighty tonight. Hope you're having a great day and a great night. Man, what a day to have your birthday. I mean, this is just a perfect summer day. I know I've said it already, but man, after yesterday, and for that matter, the night before, with all the terrible storms we've had here in the area the last 48 hours. I mean, today is a summer day you remember growing up as a kid. Not too hot, virtually no humidity, perfect. Gone swinging his Kemp, 2 away in the inning.
Logan Ondrusek showing off tonight, having a pretty good outing. That's a little splitter that he throws right there. The guy's 6'8", and he's got huge hands, Ondrusek does, and sits that ball well back in between his middle finger and his index finger, spins that little splitter up there, and the bottom dropped right off of it.
So with 2 away, another good breaking ball. The first pitch swing and a miss to Casey Blake.
You know, this is the time of night, though. I mean, it's a beautiful evening, great to watch a game. But if you're an outfielder or an infielder, very difficult to see the ball that's elevated. You get a high pop-up right here. It blends into the sky that is just about the same color of the horse eye of the cover of the baseball.
A 1-2-3 seventh. Game, Scotty Rowland, if you weren't with us, sort of pop up down the third base line. The juggle, bare hand, snatched it. Very nicely done. Our John Morrell hot dog play of the night. All right, Clayton Kershaw now climbing a hill for the bottom of the 7th inning in downtown Cincinnati. The Dodgers with a 5-1 lead. It'll be Ramon Hernandez, a pinch hitter. Chris Heisey right now stands in the on-deck circle, with a pitcher spot due up next, and then the top of the order, Orlando Cabrera, due up third. Hernandez is grounded to second and singled off the left field wall, was thrown out of the plate on what looked in our multiple replays to be another missed call tonight behind the plate. I mean, we don't make a habit of beating up umpires up here in the booth on a nightly basis. In fact, I think we praise them as they have earned that praise. But tonight, there have been 2 very critical calls in this game by Hunter Wendelstedt, and he has clearly missed them both. Hernandez wasn't even tagged on that slide play, as we showed you on that replay. And then the ball 4 to Scott Rowland, which would have loaded the bases with nobody out, instead was called strike 3, leading to ejections of both Rowland and manager Dusty Baker. And a lazy fly ball to center field. The Reds had 1 ejection by anybody in uniform through the entire year before tonight. That was Miguel Cairo. And here in the same game, Rowland and Dusty both get the heave-ho. Instead of Chris Heisey, it's going to be Micah Owings with 1 out. course, the Reds are down to Paul Giannis, Chris Heisey, and Corky Miller on their bench. Cairo's been brought in, as you see, double barrel action in the Dodger bullpen. Lance Nix also available from the left side. They're going to wait on him, of course, for a while. So here's Mike Owings.
Well, Owings, of course, not able to pitch tonight after pitching an inning in the third last night, but faced about 12 batters in that inning in the third. So instead of being out in the bullpen, they've got him on the bench. Micah trying to get time to make sure that Kershaw doesn't quick pitch him. I mean, he steps in the batter's box and Kershaw's rocking and ready to go.
Check swing and a miss on a breaking ball down around his feet, and Kershaw had a bumpy sixth inning. Easily handles Hernandez and Owings to begin the seventh. The next pitch for Kershaw will be his 100th of the night. He is fan 7. Walked only one batter, giving up 1 run on 7 hits.
That's the first run the Reds have scored in this series. Shutout last night, 12-zip. Have only punched 1 run across in 15 innings.
Right through the legs of Casey Blake into left field. So the Reds are given an extra out here in this 7th inning. Told you the Reds and the Indians get together for the Ohio Cup Series presented by the Ohio Lottery, this time at Great American Ballpark, June 25th, 26th, 27th. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The battle for the Buckeye State. And you can get tickets by calling 513-381-REDS, 381-REDS, or visit reds.com. Brandon Phillips has been aboard all 3 times tonight. Pair of singles, has drawn a walk and scored the only run of the game. Straight away center field, and this will end the inning. 1 hit, 1 left. We go to the 8th. Dodgers lead by 4. That's been a story tonight for the Dodgers starter, Clayton Kershaw. But of course he was helped by that call from home plate umpire Hunter Wendelstedt with 2 on and nobody out in the 6th inning. Everybody thought it was ball 4. Especially Scott Rowland, who argued and was thrown out. Dusty Baker argued and was thrown out.
Yeah, that's the oddity of baseball, isn't it? You go out and you're arguing a call that you know in your hearts of hearts that umpire made the wrong call and you're arguing on the right side, and yet you not only going to lose the argument, you're going to end up being fined, get a letter from the commissioner. They're going to review the whole situation, review the words you used, and be the bad guy. That's the way it's been for a long time.
Nick Massick comes on the pitch following Mike Leake, who went 6 innings, allowed 9 hits and 5 runs. Logan Ondrusek a perfect 7th. And we brought up earlier, maybe Mike Leake is sitting down there in that clubhouse right now trying to replay everything that happened tonight. And tomorrow you're going to read about the 3-run home run by Ethier in the 6th inning. But this guy right here is a guy that Leake more than likely says to himself, I got to be better than that. In a 2-0 game leading off the 6th inning, Blake DeWitt, the number 8 hitter in the Dodger lineup, drew a 4-pitch walk.
Yeah, oftentimes that's a matter of concentration. You go 2-0 to a hitter like that, and it's time to take a little lap around the mound, play with the rosin bag, tie your shoes, get the negative energy out of your head, and go back and attack the hitter with some strikes. When you don't do that in the bottom of the order, then the pitcher's able to sacrifice them over. You're just setting yourself up to give up another run. And when you're facing Clayton Kershaw, one more run could be all they need. In fact, right now, all they needed was 2.
Straight away center field. There'll be room out there for Stubbs. 1 away. Massick hoping tonight will be the night on his road to recovery this season after just a spectacular 2009. It has been anything but here in 2010. Fly ball short left, 2 gone.
You surprised to see Kershaw swinging it right there?
No, you?
Yeah.
How come?
I think at 22 years old, you want to save this young man for the rest of the season, if not for the rest of his career. I'm not saying by any means you're endangering him if you throw 120 pitches or even 130 pitches. Well, what is he, about right around 100 pitch mark?
Yeah, 101.
And see, I'm just of the mind that, a power pitcher likes that. He's giving you your 7 innings. You turn it over to the bullpen, and you ride it on in. And you bring him back nice and strong the next time, because I know he won't be pitching against the Boston Red Sox this weekend, but he will be pitching against the Angels. And the Angels of Anaheim, or Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, recently swept the Dodgers, and you're going to want Clayton Kershaw at his absolute best.
Of course, they will get an extra day, Kershaw will, with an off day on Monday. That is by rule when the West Coast teams go back to from the East Coast to the West Coast. They'll get a day off in there, and that's what they'll have before they tee him up with the Angels starting next Tuesday night. And that'll be on the road. And a 1-2-3 8th inning for Nick Massick. Reds with 6 outs to go. on defense play of the game. Brandon Phillips, a couple of these tonight against James Loney. Well, you can vote now for the People's All-Star Among Us by going online to peopleallstar.com, and your votes will determine which of these ladies, very deserving candidates, will go to the All-Star game in Anaheim representing Greater Cincinnati and the Cincinnati Reds organization. Well, you got to believe, we were talking about it a short while ago about Clayton Kershaw batting. And taking a peek ahead of the 8th inning, they probably let him just face a left-handed batting Joey Votto, then get him out of the game. 1-1 to Votto.
Little chin music right there, getting off the plate. Kershaw, you know, when he flies open too soon and lets that ball loose too soon, that's exactly the spot it goes to. He's thrown it to that same spot many times, but not all that many to left-handed hitter. Boy, when you follow it up with a little sizzling fastball in the outside corner, that makes that previous pitch awfully good.
Votto struck out each of his first 2 times up, then singled into right center field to 6th. That one served into shallow left field, and Manny will run it down. And let's see if Joe Torre is coming out to get Clayton Kershaw. Doesn't look like it. Rick Honeycutt standing up. Bob Schaefer, the bench coach. Joe Torre. And they're staying with this young man with 1 out and 105 pitches under his belt. Boy, has Kershaw been good here tonight.
And he's been very efficient, too. He's averaging a lot closer to 18 pitches an inning than he is down around 15 or 16 pitches an inning. And that's one reason why, you know, when he normally pitches 7 innings or so in a ball game, he's reached his pitch limit, you know, of 110, 115 pitches. He's had a lot of first pitch outs in the middle of the order and the middle of the ball game.
Miguel Cairo bats for the first time tonight since replacing Scott Rowland, who was thrown out back in that 6th inning. And there's another call that the Reds batter didn't like.
He's just having a tough night. No other way to say it. But the problem is when you make a bad call on an obvious miscall in a very crucial part of the game, it affects the outcome.
Bobbled by DeWitt, and that'll be an error. Well, that's as routine as it gets right there.
Boy, the infield really slows this ball up. It looks like it takes a high hop. He still got it in front of him until he kicks it away.
Well, Joe Torre will now make his way out of the bullpen, out of the dugout. And he wants a right-hander in his bullpen. We're going to bring on Ronald Belisario after an outstanding effort from their starter tonight, Clayton. Works Friday, June 25th, presented by Jeff Weiler. When the Indians come to town, call 513-381-REDS or go to reds.com for tickets. Reds have 1 on, 1 out. Ronald Belisario takes over on the mound. Had an outstanding rookie year a season ago, a 2.03 ERA, appearing in 69 games. Started this year on the restricted list. And it's very hard to hit. League batting .232 against him, but he's been a little bit wild. He's walked 12 in 26 innings. It's going to stay fair, this ball. That's an infield hit for Johnny Gomes.
And as long as that ball stays on the grass, it's not going foul. If it's got enough spin to take it off the grass, and I'm not so sure it does. It looks like it's just going the other way. It's going to die right there. Russell Martin picks it up. No chance of getting anybody. And now the Reds are trying to mount a threat.
And here comes another pitching change for Joe Torre. We told you how good Hung-Chi Kuo has been this year out of the LA bullpen. Well, this side of Arthur Rhodes has probably been the second best left-handed relief pitcher. Well, the Reds are down 5-1, but they're mounting a threat with 2 on and 1 out here in the 8th inning. Jay Bruce, a left-handed batter, coming up.
Well, I don't know if Jay Bruce has ever had a challenge quite like this year. Hung-Chi Kuo out of Taiwan is one of the, if not the toughest left-handed pitcher to hit if you're a left-handed hitter this year. We already saw and talked about Clayton Kershaw, who struck out 33 of the 71 left-handed hitters he faced previous to tonight. But Kuo has not given up a hit yet to a left-hander. In 21 at-bats this season, no hits, a 0 batting average.
Bruce has 2 career at-bats against Hung-Chi Kuo, has 1 hit in those 2 at-bats. All right, Jay with 2 on. Looks at the ball.
You know, Jay Bruce has become a lot better hitter against left-handers. This year hitting .260 off the lefties. Hanging in there better, taking the ball the other way better, flattening out his swing. Look for a piece of cheese right here and jump on it. That was a little cheesier than he thought at 96.
Two and one. fouled away, leaving the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes to Jay Bruce. Miguel Cairo, the runner at second base. Johnny Gomes at first. James Loney plays behind him there. And it's 3-2 to Jay Bruce. They find a way to get Jay Bruce aboard here. And all of a sudden you bring the tying run to the plate. Bruce Stubbs waits on deck. Joe Torre may well make another pitching change following this at bat.
Crow has thrown Jay Bruce a first pitch slider, then everything after that fastball. So boy, the Dodgers can bring some cheese and some heat with the back end of their bullpen. Crow coming in here at 96. When we see Jonathan Broxton, not unusual to see him around 98 to 100.
It's been the MO on the Dodgers for a long time. 3-2 to Jay Bruce. And again fouled away. An 8th pitch in this at bat coming up for Jay Bruce against Quo. Quo shaking off his catcher Martin. And throws a fastball at 97, low away for ball 4. An excellent at bat for Jay Bruce, and now the tying run will come to the plate. And Joe Torre is going to stay with Quo. I mean, let's face it. You know, he hasn't allowed a hit to a left-handed batter, and right-handers are batting, what, 113 against him?
Yeah, they're not hitting too much better. They're 171.
171.
He has yet to give up a home run this year.
Bruce Stubbs has 1 at bat against Quo, and that was a base hit.
Interesting to both the batters that Quo has faced, the first pitch slider. It makes that 96-mile-an-hour fastball seem a whole lot quicker in there after you see an 89-mile-an-hour slider.
Rip to the shortstop, and that's a double play to end the inning.
Wow.
Kershaw in line to pick up his 7th win and 10 decisions, and Mike Leake right now on the hook for what would be his first loss in the major leagues, as Jordan Smith, just brought up from AA Carolina prior to last night's game, made his major league debut pitching in the 9th inning. Allowed 1 hit but no runs. Will make it back-to-back nights out of the Reds bullpen.
A little bigger crowd tonight for Jordan Smith. Last night, by the time he got in the ball game, it was after 12:30 at night. Most of the crowd had waited around after the 2-hour rain delay, and there weren't too many of them. Had all had gone to the parking lot and on their way home.
So the Dodgers bat 2, 3, and 4 in their order here in the top of the 9th inning. 5 runs, 9 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 8 hits for the Reds. This is playable for Ramon Hernandez. 1 away. So Remke and Biggs have come together to make your shopping experience better. The newly remodeled Turfway store in Florence invites you to come experience a Remke Biggs difference. Andre Ethier, a 3-hit night tonight. Ethier, since coming off the disabled list, has not been swinging the bat well at all. First pitch swinging in the air to straightaway center field. Ethier only had 1 hit in the game last night in 5 at-bats. He did walk and scored a couple of runs, but a big night tonight. 3 for 5, including that 3-run home run off Mike Leake in the 6th inning. Well, if you weren't with us last night, we told you Jordan Smith, the young man who grew up in the state of Utah, still makes his home out there. Went to Pleasant Grove High School and then attended the Community College of Southern Nevada in Las Vegas. He has a brother who was selected in the 7th round of last year's draft by the Toronto Blue Jays. Jordan, a 6th-round pick in 2006 by the Reds. He has been a Southern League All-Star, a Florida State League All-Star. And Chris talked about it last night. Up until this year, his entire career as a starting pitcher in the minor leagues. And I tell you, look at his numbers, and it's hard to understand why they would have moved him.
From what I understand, Tom, they took a look at his stuff and they thought that it would adapt very nicely to that of relief. They shut him down last year in July with some arm problems. Maybe they just thought the way he pitched as a starter would aggravate his arm more, but he's taken to relieving quite well. Figured it was a lot easier than it really was. He's had a lot to learn about it. A fastball that primarily sinks. He's got a little slider, an occasional changeup. And the thing that they liked about him, and maybe this is one of the reasons why the Reds brought him up out of AA instead of somebody else out of AAA, is that they've tried to use him as much as possible in more than 1-inning situations where you can give a team a couple of innings out of the bullpen. And that is very valuable, especially if your starters are only going 6 innings a pop.
2-2 on Manny Ramirez. Lined hard into deep right field, and that baby is gone. Home run number 7 for Manny Ramirez. He has homered in back-to-back games of this series. And the Dodger lead now beyond slam range. It is a 6-1 game.
Now, Manny really not turning on the ball like he used to, but he is awfully nice at hitting that outside corner and driving it the other way. He's had a couple of hits that way. The home run he hit off of Micah Owings last night was to left field, but it was a breaking ball that Owings hit on the inner part of the plate.
Loney fouled that one off his foot.
Another look at the home run by Manny Ramirez. Like a little sinker on a 2-2 count, just taking it the other way. A line drive right out of here.
So the first run surrendered by Jordan Smith in his major league career. And he gives up to a home run to a guy who's probably heading for the Hall of Fame. A base hit into center field by James Loney. A 2-hit night for him, including a couple of runs batted in.
Now, don't forget, after every Reds game, Fox Sports Ohio breaks down the game and talks to the players and coaches on Reds Live, brought to you by Kings Honda in the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com.
Jim Day, Jeff Piccolo standing by for that. Reds came into this game having lost 9 of their last 15. And now in danger of losing their 10th in their last 16. After that remarkable 6-week run, where they went from 4 games under 500 the final week of April to as many as 10 games over 500. And another thing, the Reds and the St. Louis Cardinals, for that matter, although the Cardinals have won the first 2 games of their series at home against Seattle, they trailed 2-1 in the 6th inning tonight. But neither the Reds nor the Cardinals have played very good baseball for about the last 3 weeks. And they're allowing other teams in the division to believe they still have a fighting chance to get back in it. Now, teams like the Cubs and the Brewers, they've dug themselves holes. But had the Reds and Cardinals been winning a few more games and a few more series here over the last 2-3 weeks, it's not to say you couldn't write off anybody in June, but if the Reds and the Cardinals say we're to lose tonight and the Cubs win, they're only 6.5 games out of first place. And we've got over 3.5 months to go in the regular season. Two and two on Matt Kemp, and now 3-2. Gone swinging to end the inning, but Manny Ramirez, a solo home run, 1 of 2. Make your shopping experience better. Come experience a Rumpke Biggs difference. By McDonald's. I'm loving it. By the Ohio Department of Public Safety, reminding you to drive safe this summer, and if you're over the limit, you'll be under arrest. And by PerformanceHondaStore.com, will put a smile on your face, every customer, every vehicle, every day. Well, the Reds have a comfort zone in that bullpen. Presented by Haynes. Arthur Rhodes has just had an amazing year, working on a 26 scoreless inning streak and a 0.32 ERA on the year. A couple of changes on defense for the Dodgers. Jamie Carroll will take over at second base for Blake DeWitt. And Manny Ramirez out of the game. He'll give way to Reed Johnson. Hung-Chi Kuo still on the mound. Not a save situation, obviously, for Jonathan Broxton. Let's see, he came on in a 4-run game with runners at first and second. You had a batter at the plate and a batter in the on-deck circle to tying run. So I believe Kuo could earn a save in this game, if I'm not mistaken. It was a 5-1 game at the time. He came in with 2 on. So you had the tying run in the on-deck circle when he came into the game. So I am pretty sure Mr. Kuo is in line for a save here tonight. Of course, he would have to pitch this inning and nail this thing down. You can't pitch yourself into a safe situation, as most of you know. The only Dodger pitcher this year with a save is Jonathan Broxton. And gone swinging, Ramon Hernandez.
Just almost a rising fastball from Kuo, somewhat of a low 3/4 arm angle, but when you're throwing it about 97 miles an hour the way Kuo does, the ball just doesn't sink. So it gives you the impression that it actually rises.
Chris Heising batting for the Reds with 1 out and nobody on here in the 9th inning. Kuo has 1 major league save, and that came in 2008. In the air, hit a ton, and Heisey with another pinch hit home run. That is his 3rd off the Reds bench.
He's got the makings of a pretty good bench player, coming off the bench, being able to hit a breaking ball like that. 88-mile-an-hour slider. At first I thought it was a fastball, but it comes right into the wheelhouse of Chris Heising. A stout young man with plenty of power, pops it up into the left field bleachers.
Of course, you know, Chris, he doesn't want to hear anything about that part-time player.
Yeah, I know that.
Bench stuff. He was the minor league player of the year last year.
And when I said that, I didn't mean to categorize him as only a bench player. I mean, he's hoping to be an everyday player in the big leagues. But it's nice to have his kind of pop off the bench. That's really what I meant to say.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, 3 pinch hit home runs. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And he's never seen any of these guys.
I mean, especially off the caliber of pitchers that he's hitting them off of.
Well, now the Reds are down to their final out of the night. Well, this has been a rough homestand for the Reds. They lost the first 2 games against the Giants. They did come back to win the final 2 games. And then you thought, okay, the Royals coming in town. And again, it's just another example of all of us learning a lesson that it doesn't matter if your team's any good and the other team is not any good at all. You better not take anybody for granted and take anybody lightly. Reds should have won that game on Friday night, could have won the game Friday night, but they didn't. They won on Saturday. Too much Zach Greinke on Sunday. And the Dodgers shut them out last night, and the Reds have been held in check through 8 2/3 innings tonight on 2 runs. Bronson Arroyo will get the ball against right-hander John Eli in the air, and this is going to do it. So the Dodgers in back-to-back games really hand it to the Reds. 12-0 last night, 6-2 tonight. They'll be talking about the calls by the home plate umpire, Hunter Wendelstedt. There were a couple of big ones in this game, but you know, you had 9 innings to do major league damage against Kershaw, and you got 1 run against him.
You give up 6 runs to the Dodgers in a game in which Clayton Kershaw pitches. You're not going to end up on top very often. The Reds offense, they've got to find a little groove that they lost there over this last couple of days, and hopefully they'll be able to figure it out tomorrow in the day game, the last one of these 3 against the Los Angeles Dodgers, before after the ball game they hit the road. They go on the West Coast trip to play some more interleague play against the Seattle Mariners and then the Oakland A's. Not an easy task going on the West Coast. Hopefully they'll be able to regroup, come out tomorrow, and build a little momentum.
Well, 6-2 the final. No television tomorrow. Chris will be back with you with Paul Keels on Friday night from Safeco Field in Seattle. It is time now for Reds Live, and let's go downstairs by the Reds dugout to Jeff Pecoro.
Thank you very much, Tom. You guys just said it. 6-2, another loss for the Reds. It's been a very